everyone. Welcome back to the Shuffle. I'll never forget backstory. We were at Firefly with the crew, and they were playing "Call It What You Want," which is my favorite Foster song. And I looked straight at Blue Man. I was like, "Oh my God, I love Pumped Up Kick Seat." But with that, let's get into the shuffle. Let's do a recap of last week, and let's start with our winner. Congratulations to Jamie. He put up his first win of the season, and he put up our first 6-0 of the season. Um, I went back and looked. Spalding or David had a 6-0 last week, so our second 6-0 of all time. And then with that, as a group, we were 22 and 32, minus 6.85 units, so not a terrible week. Other shout outs go out to Aaron. Aaron was 4 and 2 with plus 2 units. Stone and I were both 3 and 3, and then everyone else 2 and 4 and kind of below there. And then we get to the bottom and we see Nick is sitting at 0 and 6. So let's add someone to the 0 and 6. So that's our ninth 0 and 6 of the season. So we added our first 6-0, added our ninth 0 and 6. Oh, excuse me. And so with that, let's kind of recap Jamie's week. So Jamie had Lions Rams. Um, I'm actually going to click over to his card because we haven't had a 6-0 in a while. He had the Rams, he had the over, he had Nakua, St. Brown, Williams touchdown, Golf Stafford over 650, and that was at plus 438. That plus 438 was the ninth highest reach we've had this season. So shout out Jamie for crushing it and getting that zero off our leaderboard here. Um, and now let's talk about the season. So on the season, we're still hovering right there around the 80 units. We were above it and we went below, and now we're kind of back right around 80. So we've been hovering there the last couple weeks. We were, let me get the 322 and 463 as a group. And then let's kind of pivot now to the leaderboard, which is what everyone's kind of looking for. So Dalton and Nick actually had pretty bad weeks. Dalton 1 and 5, Nick 0 and 6, but they're still leading in the leaderboard. The people that actually dominated this week or added units, we're actually at the bottom of the leaderboard. So it's kind of that week that get everything together, start getting back to the average kind of week we're looking at. Dalton's in first place. He has 4.7 units. Nick is in second place, 2.4 units. Corey still in third place at zero point 0.7 units. Myself and Stone, single digit negatives. David, Aaron, Jamie, Shay, double digit negatives. But we are, oh shit, hold on 1 second. I forgot to rank these. Jamie didn't get credit in the standings. Okay, so let's do. So Jamie moves up to sixth place, still double digit um, minus units, but now there's a handful of people that are a week or two away in striking distance from everybody else. Jamie puts himself there and moves David back to spot number 7. Let's go into our best hits of the week. We had 5 this week. We are getting close to 90. So once we get past 90, yeah, we'll kind of do the race to 100. Jamie, we already talked about his. Corey had a Neal anytime touchdown. Then he got injured, didn't come back. Let me just talk about that for a second. I can't do what FanDuel and Fanatics do because they're not competing with anybody. It's not like a competition on the picks. It's their customer base. For this, I can't say if it's first quarter or halftime, then I'd have to go back and check every player prop for every injury. It's just going to be too much. So for us, we're going to do old school like we used to do on betonline.ag. And if you put in a ticket and your guy gets hurt on the first play, it's very unfortunate. But since it's a competition, we're going to count that as an L. I'll leave it at that. Aaron had a good combo from Dak and JJ. That was all in the top 40. And then Stone and David also added McBride 70 yards and a Kittle anytime touchdown. So that was the 5. Kind of thought we'd have a positive week when I started putting the tickets in. And then there's some 0-6 some 1-5. So it ended up being slightly 5 wins negative if you think about that flip. Okay, let's pivot over to best of category, worst of category. There's really no change in worst of category. We still have David, Shay. Again, there's a distance between those guys and everybody else, so I don't expect in the last 3 weeks that's going to change. There was a change on best of category. Aaron has taken over the spread from Corey, so Aaron is 8-5 on the spread. He's beaten Corey by zero point zero 0.05 units on that, and then Stone kept over under. David kept best of bet, and then Corey kept the reach, and so there were no changes in those columns. Um, Let me see. Oh, there is one other thing I had in my notes here just before we start talking about next week. Um, we still have two people in the shuffle this year that have yet to win a week. Aaron and Shay. It's only 3 weeks left, so the challenge. So now it's the names are out there. We'll see if you guys can get on the board in one of the last 3 weeks, and we'll go from there. Uh, Let me see. Nope, that's all I got for that. Let's kind of talk to this will be week 16. Week 16, we're going to have 15 games. There are a lot of duds out there. I think this is going to be a week that it would be, you just kind of hope you get a team that you've been looking at and that you kind of have a good vibe for. Because there's really only like 5 or 6 meaningful football games out there. What we'll do is we'll random it 5 times for the 5 reaches that we've hit this week. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Okay, so as far as meaningful football is concerned, Nick got New England, Baltimore. I feel like Nick's got a lot of Baltimore this year. Um, let's see. Stone got the Tank Bowl, the Jets, and the Saints. Um, okay, I got very lucky again this week. Tampa Bay, Carolina. That's basically a playoff game, or could be a playoff game later down the line. Um, yeah, there's just a lot of shit games. There's just a lot of shit games this week. I guess games we didn't hit: Jacksonville, Denver, Pitt, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago. That would have been some of the good ones to get that are kind of some meaningful football, but we didn't get a lot of those. So only one Saturday game on the board. David got Philly, Washington. And Nick got Sunday night. So I'll be seeing some Saturday, Sunday tickets. Kind of last thing here. 3 weeks left. If you're sitting in a position, whether it's down 40 units or it's down 2 units, we should see some tickets that kind of speak to getting those back, right? Last year, I actually overtook Aaron. I had an 11 unit week at the end, and there was a flip on the last week. 3 weeks is enough to get hot and to come get back into first place and make this competitive, and it's already very competitive. So I look forward to seeing how it ends, and I'll see everybody next week.